All right, everybody. Thanks for downloading this episode. We got a chance to sit down and talk to Darien Harris. He told us a lot about Michigan State and playing in bowl games and playing for the Bengals and a little bit of CFL stuff. So, probably getting used to the CFL stuff if you've been downloading our episodes. So, be sure to head over to iTunes and subscribe and tell people to subscribe you think might like it and leave us a review. And here we go. Darien Harris.
All right, everybody. We're sitting here again talking to another great guest. We got Darien Harris, and I did say that right, correct?
Yep,
Okay.
How's it going, man?
going really well.
And we'll just get a couple things straight. You're are you currently in the CFL? We read that
Yeah,
right?
yep.
Okay.
Currently with the Ottawa Redblacks.
Okay. So yeah, we actually had a red black player on.
We had Kevin Brown on.
Yeah, like two
Oh,
weeks
okay.
ago.
Yeah,
So
that's my roommate up there.
oh, for
Actually,
real?
yeah,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Nice.
yeah. We got there last year. Last year was both of our first years there, so we got there at the same time. Last year, both linebackers. Um, both played in the Midwest. He played at Cincinnati. I played at Michigan State. Had some mutual friends and hit it off pretty well. And knew we'd have a chance, obviously, to compete and to play with each other and play next to each other for the foreseeable future. So it's always good, when you go in and can meet somebody like that and kind of hit it off right off the bat like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool
Yeah, he was
actually.
definitely one of our favorite people we've had on. He was really cool.
So speaking of Michigan State, what was it like? What was your experience like at Michigan State? You like overall pretty much like it and all.
Yeah, absolutely. My experience at MSU was fantastic. We left, being part of the winningest senior class of all time, winning 43 games there. Was able to win two Big Ten championships, a Rose Bowl, a Cotton Bowl, and compete in the college football playoffs. So couldn't have asked for a better experience over my 4.5 years in Michigan State. Loved my coaching staff there, loved Coach D'Antonio, loved all my teammates. Again, same thing, just really lucky and blessed to have gotten that opportunity. Because it is crazy, obviously, with recruiting and stuff like that. You kind of really, never know kind of what you're getting into. And then that decision is one that can impact the rest of your life. So I'm definitely glad I made the right decision with that.
Yeah, it's college football is definitely. We've learned from doing these interviews. We've done about 8 of them now. We've learned doing these interviews. College football is a crazy. It's a crazy life to
It's
live.
basically like two full-time jobs, kind of.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with school and football, of course, got to be able to balance both, got to understand time management and things like that. But, it really sets you up for the future and for life after football. And if you do it right, you play your cards right and, focus up and everything, and you can really take a lot of, lessons and values that you learn while playing college football into the real world.
And what was your major in college?
My undergrad is in journalism.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yep.
So, what was it like playing in the bowl games? Like, what was that experience kind of like?
Those experiences were great, because you're playing against teams that you don't normally obviously get a chance to play against, because every single year you're going to play your conference games, so you're going to see we're going to see Michigan and Ohio State every year, but to have a chance in bowl games to play against SEC teams and then some Big 12 teams, and then Pac-12 or SEC and Big 12 teams, that was a fantastic experience. Getting to play against a TCU, getting a chance to play against a Stanford, so getting a chance to play against a Pac-12 team, then getting a chance to play against Baylor, another Big 12 team, and obviously getting to play against Alabama in the college football playoffs. Bowl games are always great. You always get to. It's like essentially you got to know how to balance both work and play, but you are there at the bowl for a week. We were fortunate to get all New Year's Six bowls, so they're obviously in great places. So getting to go out to LA for a week, or getting to be in Dallas for a week twice, or Tempe, Arizona, or Tampa, Florida, all the places I was able to go to. You can't beat those experiences with your teammates and your family out, enjoying the weather and things like that, especially during the winter and especially playing in a state like Michigan.
Yeah, no
And
kidding.
you guys had a pretty loaded class at the time. I was looking at some of the guys that played there with you.
Yeah, yeah. In the last really 6, 7 years, honestly, the guys that Coach D'Antonio has brought in have gone on to do obviously great things in the NFL. I mean, obviously the top of that list is probably Le'Veon Bell. So he was a guy I was able to play with for a few years. Trey Waynes was my roommate. He was his first round pick of the Vikings. Just got done, obviously playing an NFC Championship game. Kirk Cousins, will probably be the highest paid player in the league probably next year. So we'll probably have the highest paid quarterback and running back that have both came from Michigan State and played together at the same time. And there's so many other guys that have come out of Michigan State and then actually go on to do pretty good things in the NFL. So, the big thing about Michigan State is we don't usually get highly rated recruits. We get a couple 4 and 5 stars here and there, but like Le'Veon was a 2-star coming out. Trey Waynes was a 2-star coming out. Kirk Cousins was a 2-star coming out. Darquez Annard, another first-round pick, Thorpe Award winner, was a 2-star. Jack Conklin, he was a All-Pro right tackle last year as a rookie. One of the only rookies ever in history to do that. First team All-Pro as a rookie was a no-star coming out. So the way Michigan State develops their players, finds diamonds in the rough, is also something that speaks to our coaching staff.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell being a 2-star recruit, I bet anybody listening to this probably would have never even thought that in a million years.
I never knew that.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And it's stuff that didn't make sense to us either. I mean, I think it's the only 2 offers were Bowling Green, and then Michigan State came on late. But, when I was playing with him, when I was practicing against him, competing against him, seeing what he was doing in games, we were trying to tell people, this is going to be one of the best running backs of all time. And I wasn't trying to be biased. Obviously you're going to be biased towards your teammates, but what he does on the field, is special. It's the way he runs the ball, the patience, that patient nature that nobody can duplicate is something that we never seen before at the running back position. But that just speaks also to recruiting and how crazy recruiting is, and how, I mean, it's not like he wasn't an excellent high school running back. I mean, if you pull up his high school highlight tape, it's off the charts. But these recruiting services and things have metrics and stuff like that, and it's all based on how many camps you go to and things like that, and that's how you get your stars. So yeah, it is. I mean, who would have thought? Obviously, like you said, that somebody like Le'Veon Bell would have been a 2-star recruit with 2 offers coming out of high school.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
I mean,
wild.
the man's basically created his own running style on the field. Basically, like nobody, like you said, can duplicate that.
Dang, that's crazy. But and play with Kirk Cousins and all those guys. That's just cool to be able to sit down at family events or whatever and just be like, yeah, I used to play with Le'Veon Bell and Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely.
That's so cool to be
You
able to say
still
that.
keep in touch with some of the guys?
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, that's another thing. We get so close at Michigan State that you never lose contact with these guys. Obviously, my roommates, Trey Waynes, Tawan Jones, he's with the New York Jets for a couple years. Donovan Clark's with the LA Rams now on IR. Those are guys I talk to every day. But then, a guy like Benny Fowler, who was an undrafted free agent for the Denver Broncos, and he's going on his, I believe, 4th year in the league right now. He's also got a Super Bowl ring. I was just with him last night, and just because he came into town. I always keep in touch with the guys. Everybody, just wants to keep up with what everybody's doing. Everybody's, obviously fortunate and blessed enough to still be playing football, but it doesn't matter to us what anybody's doing. It doesn't matter if we're playing professional football or not. We're always going to keep in touch with each other. We're always going to be boys, and that's just that MSU Spartan family that I just don't think you get at other schools.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, it's kind of like a brotherhood type thing.
So, what was correct me if I'm wrong, but you signed with the Bengals for a short stint, right?
Yep.
What was all that like?
It was a great experience, honestly. It's always tough when you have a really good college career and you coming out and you sign with an agent, and leading up to the draft process, a bunch of teams are calling you and you're talking to head coaches and things like that, and you've been dreaming of the day you're going to hear your name on your name called on draft day, and sometimes unfortunately it just doesn't happen. But I went with what I thought was the best opportunity at the time, which was to go to Cincinnati, and I had a really good preseason. I had a really, really productive preseason. I competed extremely well. Was running with the second team. Did what I was supposed to do. But at the end of the day, it just came down to a numbers game, which is essentially what they always tell you. And it just ended up not working out there. And then, unfortunately, I wasn't able to latch on with another team for myriad of different reasons, whatever they may have been. But that's just the nature of the business. It's a crazy business. There's a lot of good football players out there that don't even have jobs in the CFL right now. And it's everything's a numbers game. If you look at CFL rosters, they can only have 20 Americans per team, so it's almost even harder to get in up there than it is down here. And it happens, like I said, every single year. I mean, there's going to be guys that were household names in college that don't even see the field, the NFL field ever. So for me to be able to say I suited up and dressed and played in 3 NFL football games, that's something I can always obviously take for the rest of my life.
Oh yeah, that
Absolutely.
people don't realize how small that 53 number is. They don't realize They think 53 and they're like, "Wow, that's a lot." That's not a lot at all. I mean, I didn't know. You said how many Americans in the CFL community? 28.
20 per team, yeah. So it gets really crazy up there, and last year for me, I had an injury in fall camp, so I went into camp, was ready to compete, was going to be a guy that could really break in the rotation, and just had a free injury. So once that happens, I ended up having to get released technically until I was healthy. And just like I said, with the way the numbers works, it went from, hey, we'll be able to bring you back as soon as you're healthy, which was 3 weeks later, to, hey, it's going to be a little more time. And it ended up actually being a few months before I was able to return to Ottawa, which obviously I was extremely thankful that they were able to call me back and get me back up there. But that's just the nature of the business. If you get hurt, something happens, they got to bring somebody else in, and they can't have you there taking up a roster spot, rehabbing and things like that. Even if it's just a 3-week injury in training camp, they have to think about what's best for the team and for the organization. And there was a chance that it could have taken longer than 3 weeks for me to get back healthy. And that's why, like I said, once you really get to camp up in the CFL, the cuts start dwindling down. And you really got to make your mark, because they start looking at which positions they need Americans for. When you think about like left tackle, cornerback, quarterback, obviously those are deemed kind of American positions. So those are going to be, a lot more Americans are going to take up those 20 spots on each team.
What's the roster size in the CFL?
I believe it is 44, if I'm not mistaken.
Gosh.
So I think less than down here. It's either 44 or 46. I think it might be 46, and then a 10-man practice squad. So yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, you all obviously have a different perspective than a lot of other people in terms of that's not a big number at all. When we start camp off with 90 to 100 guys, yeah, think about it, 54 guys, obviously, or something like that, from each team get cut at the end. And the way I always try to make an analogy out of it is if you take a college team which can have 105 guys on it, and you cut half of the team, think about how many great players are getting cut off of half of the team. And that's exactly what happens in professional football on every single team every single year, is that half of your roster essentially gets cut from training camp all the way to the start of the regular season game. And when you start looking around the room, it's like, well, 20 of the guys are just as qualified as the next 20 guys, but it's like, who's going to go? You start looking around, it's like, well, this person couldn't possibly go, but then you're like, well, neither could this person, couldn't possibly go either. And then it ends up that, nobody's job is safe just because of the numbers. And like you said, if you look at a college team and you think about, the amount of guys that, have to develop and things like that from their freshman to their senior year, imagine if 50 guys got cut every single year from each college team, and imagine how many really good players are going to be left on the street with no job.
Yeah, and I'm sure the coaches would like to have them, but you can't have them. It's not like the coach wanted to get rid of everybody. It's like everybody could have a certain role, but you can only have so many people.
Right, exactly.
And yeah, like you were saying, so with a 40, either 44 or 46, like the New Orleans game when they played Carolina in the wild card round, like I remember they went into that game, for people who don't realize how small of a roster, they went in with one backup lineman in that game.
Yep.
So it's like you got 5 players who are starters, and if 2 of them go down, you're in big trouble.
Exactly.
And that's a 53-man roster. That's 53 players. So it's not a big number at all. You're exactly right. And to cut it to 46 or 44, whatever it is, that's
Yeah.
I don't even see how y'all do that.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a
No,
numbers
it
game.
is. It's crazy. Like I said, when you start looking around and we've obviously ran into that last season, where an injury happens at a position and it's like, hey, the guy that maybe could step in is in street clothes. He's in sweats on the sideline because he's on the practice squad or something like that, or he's inactive this week. So, but the rules are the rules, and maybe rosters should be expanded. Maybe they should toy around with that in both leagues. But for now, at what it is, I mean, you got to try to keep guys healthy. I mean, that's why we don't practice with pads anymore up there.
Yeah, that's what Kevin Brown was telling us.
So everything's about player safety, and whatever studies they did to show that helps. There might be some studies that show that doesn't necessarily help, but anything that they can do to keep the players healthy is big. And same thing was with NFL practices where we don't tackle in practice. When I went to the Bengals, the first time I actually tackled somebody to the ground was the first preseason game, and that was already essentially a month in the training camp. So there's no tackling in practice, things like that, because like you said, the numbers are just so small that you can't afford to get somebody hurt.
So you went from your last college game to basically your first preseason game without even tackling a person?
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. I went from the East-West Shrine game, All-Star game, which was January, early January or mid-January, all the way to the end of August, or the beginning of August without tackling anybody.
And you're a linebacker.
Yep.
People don't even understand.
I mean, that's why everybody's like that kind of is an adjustment period. That's why people probably look a little rusty, because it's like you can't. That's not something you can practice.
Exactly, but they expect you to be professionals, and I mean, like you said, it's hard to comprehend, because also if you think about college, you go from that bowl game, which was end of December, and you go into spring ball a couple months later, and at Michigan State we were tackling. That was full speed football in the spring. So you go into March, and you're tackling, and then you go into fall camp and you're tackling. Whereas we went essentially 7 months, as you said, from the last college game to my first NFL preseason game without literally tackling somebody to the ground, and without somebody, a running back, full speed going at you. Not to mention, as you said, it's just going up a level. So this isn't college players anymore.
No, this is
everybody's
men.
a professional. Everybody was the men of their college football team. So you got to go full speed tackling guys like that. But like I said, they expect you to be a professional. They expect you to know how to tackle. There is no more teaching technique and things like that. You're supposed to know what to do and be ready to roll.
Dang, I never even thought about that really till you just said it, that you go that long without tackling somebody. That's so crazy. That's wild.
And have you always been like a linebacker, or have you kind of moved around a little bit?
Yeah, I played running back as well. Probably thought I should have actually stayed at running back. I did. I played all linebacker my junior year of high school, and that's what I got recruited off of. Then I switched over to running back for my senior year and really didn't play any linebacker. Then when I got to state, obviously I came in as a linebacker, but we actually lost our running back in our class, so I had to be the scout team running back the entire year, and did a really, really good job at that, and actually thought that I was going to end up being the second running back behind Le'Veon, ironically. But Coach Narduzzi wanted to keep me on defense, and obviously it still worked out really well for me. But still to this day, I feel like I should have stayed at running back. Career might have been a little different. Might have had a better chance of playing at the next level. But everything happens as it's supposed to happen. I obviously still enjoy playing linebacker. I love running around, flying around, getting to the ball, hitting hard, and all the things that go into playing linebacker. So definitely wouldn't trade my career for anything.
Well, you kind of answered my next question. My next question was, do you prefer to play linebacker or running back? But I think that's pretty.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to be a professional running back in the National Football League?
Exactly. Who wouldn't want the ball in their hands? Who wouldn't be scoring a touchdown?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of. I'm sure everybody wants to be a running back or a receiver or quarterback. Those are the glory positions. But the truth matters, everybody can't be that.
Nah. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm still blessed to be able to play at a professional level. And I'll enjoy tackling those guys that I wish I was.
That could have had some value too, like because I mean, worst case scenario, you can go in there and take a snap and run it back.
Yeah. Once I get a little more credibility, a little more clout, maybe I'll ask to take a couple snaps at that. Should have asked to do that in college, so maybe in a spring game or something, just to kind of remind my coaches what I can do on the other side of the ball.
Yeah.
But I think they always knew too. I tried to switch my sophomore year, met with Coach Antonio, and he said he'd think about it, and obviously still kept me on defense. So must have been a reason for that. Can't go against what your coach says.
Yeah, I mean, and you were number 45, right? So I mean, it
Yep.
wouldn't look
It would
too
go
off.
either way.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like wearing like Luke Kuechly to going in there taking a snap
Right.
wearing number 59. It wouldn't look too bad. 45's not bad. So
It works.
yeah. I got two personal questions. In your Twitter bio, it says writer and broadcaster.
Yep.
You written a book or something, or?
So I did a lot of writing. Or wrote a few stories for the Athletic. Detroit. I wrote a story on my journey, which is still up on their website now, and with not behind the paywall. So I wrote a really extensive story on my football journey. This was during the process when I was back in East Lansing rehabbing from my injury that I got in camp in Ottawa. Because I'd gone through a lot of things that every football player I think goes through. But as we're kind of spelling out now, there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't know about what it takes to be a professional athlete, what goes on, in terms of that process. So I just wanted to make it an informational piece. Obviously it was my story and my journey, but it was more of an informational and instructional kind of piece for high school coaches, for high school parents, with players or with kids that have aspirations of being professional athletes, so they understand what happens. They understand the true process. They understand that sometimes being good is not going to be good enough. So I was able to write that. I wrote a story also on my late teammate from Michigan State, Mike Sadler, who passed away a year ago now, in a car accident, and his future was unbelievable. It was an All-American punter, academic All-American, was actually headed to Stanford for law school, and died tragically in a car accident that also took the life of Nebraska punter Sam Foltz. They were coming from a punting kicking camp, coaching there. So now there's a whole bunch of foundations in his name. There's Mom Karen. There's a bunch of different things. And I wrote a story on that. Then just did a couple regular, like college football stories and things like that. So definitely wanted to get an opportunity to put my degree to use. I do local radio and TV as well in the East Lansing area in the off season. I actually did color commentary for our Michigan State spring game last year on Big Ten Network. I did a couple Big Ten live shows. So I wanted to put my degree to use. That's part of kind of what I wrote about also, was making sure I'm putting my degree to use, making sure I'm setting myself up for life after football, because whether you play a year or you play 10 years professionally, you got to have something ready to roll when you're done playing.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that's a good back. I don't want to call it a backup plan, but it's a good
You can't play
second
football
plan.
forever.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. But well, man, how can people find your story?
So you can, I'm really active on social media. So you can follow me on Twitter at @DHarris_45, Instagram at @DHarris_45. Really active on both of those. Huge basketball NBA fan. So if you want to talk about basketball all the time, then you can obviously go to my page, and that's pretty much what I talk about all day long. But yeah, I'm pretty active on social media. Love how it gives you opportunity to connect with a bunch of different people. So yeah, if you want, like I said, if you love the NBA, you want to talk sports, you want to talk superheroes, big comic book fan also. You want to talk about those types of things, then that's how you can reach me and follow me.
Who's your favorite superhero?
Oh man, it's always been Superman. I got Superman license plate, got Superman floor mats in my car, but Iron Man's been creeping up the ladder recently.
Oh no!
I didn't find out what they do with Marvel, and obviously we got a couple weeks before Black Panther comes out, so really looking forward to that.
I'm a DC guy. I'm a Batman guy.
Okay.
I'm not really into this. I kind of like him a little bit. I'm not gonna say I'm a fan. I don't want to be like the guy who just acts like I know what I'm talking about. But I can get into some NBA though. We should have you on for like when the NBA starts up again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is about, maybe it's just that, I'm obviously a fan of football, and I'm a fan of a ton of great players, but maybe it's just the fact that I can truly be a fan of basketball is what's gravitated me, towards basketball so much, and I also got that unpopular opinion that I love the NBA more than I love college basketball, which a lot of people don't share that same thought process as I do. But that also makes it fun as well for me. It makes for some fun arguments when I'm trying to state my claim as to why I prefer professional basketball over college.
Yeah, I'm that way too. I don't really get into college basketball that much. I kind of like the NBA though.
Well, man, we don't want to hold you up all day. We've been going for about 25 minutes here or so. So.
And you used to play basketball, right? I think I saw something on your Twitter about that, right?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
You used to play basketball, right?
Yeah. I played. Played in high school. Things like that. I stopped growing. That's kind of what did it. Stopped growing after 7th grade. So football it was.
Yeah, you're not 6'5", 6'7", something like that. It ain't gonna work.
Exactly.
Unless you can drain them like Steph. Then other than that, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, man, we really appreciate you talking with us today and taking time out of your day.
Everybody go check out his books.
Everybody go check out his stories. You can head over to his Twitter. I actually just headed over there right now. You can head over there.
We'll put the link in the description on this.
Yeah.
The link to all my stories from the Athletic are in the description. Should be in the description on my Twitter page, and I believe they're also in the website portion of my Instagram page as well.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll share that on our Facebook post and all of our links we put on.
So go follow. Go follow him at dharris_45 to check all that stuff out and read his stories and I guess find a way to listen to him broadcast. And thanks for talking with us, man. And we'd love to catch up again and do this again sometime if it's cool with you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, man.
All right. We hope you liked that. We had fun doing it. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a good one. I like talking about the superheroes. That was pretty fun. That's
yeah. As you can tell, I didn't know a whole lot about it. I wasn't gonna pretend like I did though either.
Yeah, that's personally one of my favorite things to watch superhero movies. So that was pretty cool to see somebody else.
I thought it was pretty cool because I don't really like college basketball. Everybody gets like really into it, and I don't really like it. I can kind of get in the NBA, so it was kind of cool to hear somebody. Most people are the other way.
Yeah, college basketball is usually the most popular one.
Yeah,
so
I just can't get into it. I can kind of get in the NBA though, so it was pretty cool that somebody else thought the same way.
Yeah, but
and the Red Blacks, we're still kind of learning about the CFL, but those are some really cool guys.
The Red Blacks and let's see, pretty much everybody in the CFL. I'm not going to specify it to one team.
If you're under the CFL umbrella, I like you.
Yeah,
everybody's cool over there.
And big news this week in football, since we're on the podcast and we're going, the XFL's coming back, and so people who listen to our Stephon Morris interview know we're big-time WWE fans, so we're Vince McMahon fans. And we don't want to promise anything, but there is a possibility we could have an former XFL player lined up. It's a possibility. We're not promising anything.
He's kind of agreed to it. And
he's kind of agreed, and our schedules are really conflicting.
Yeah, we've kind of had some trouble getting in contact with him recently, but we definitely want to do it.
Yeah,
if we can do it, we'll do it.
Yeah, if we can somehow pull the podcast off, we're definitely going to do it. But we don't want to promise anything here today. We just wanted to mention that with all the CFL or with all the XFL news kind of buzzing around, it's still pretty hot.
He might be a little bit out of our price range.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. So we're going to give it every shot we got. We know people like listening to these, so we really want to get them in here, and we get good feedback. So thanks for listening, guys. Be sure to head over to iTunes, like we always say. It really, really helps so much.
And we appreciate our promotional experts that help us get this out there, which is Taylor, Tuck, Mui, Heath, Dalton,
all those guys. We appreciate everything, helping out, retweeting and everything. And to all the players we've interviewed that have retweeted, they're somehow listening to this. Thank you to those guys. It means more than anything. So be sure to check us out. We have plans to get back up with Stephon Morris next week and do a WrestleMania thing after the Rumble. So strictly WWE podcast next week. So if you see it, be sure to download and check it out. And we'll see you next time.